I stood frozen in the grand ballroom of the Hanson estate, watching my mother-in-law Meredith unveil my skincare line, the one I'd spent 2 years perfecting, as her family's newest venture. The crystal champagne glass nearly slipped from my trembling fingers as she gestured to the elegant display of products, each bearing the Hanson Beauty logo where my grandmother's name should have been. My name is Lucia, and this was supposed to be my moment. Instead, I was just another guest at my own execution. Ladies and gentlemen, Meredith's voice carried across the room with practiced authority. I'm thrilled to present our exclusive line of natural skincare products, developed through generations of Hanson family expertise. I felt bile rising in my throat. Those were my grandmother's recipes, centuries-old formulas passed down through my family, not hers. Next to Meredith stood her daughter Paula, beaming with unearned pride as she held up one of the signature facial serums. Lucia, my husband Tyler touched my elbow. Are you okay? You look pale. Before I could answer, Fred, my business partner, rushed over. Tell me I'm seeing things, he whispered urgently. Those aren't our formulas up there, are they? They are. My voice came out surprisingly steady. Every single one. The room spun as I remembered sharing my plans with Meredith over dinner 3 months ago. How she'd seemed so supportive, offering to connect me with suppliers through her social network. I'd even given her samples to try. And now, Meredith continued, I'd like to introduce the creative force behind Hanson Beauty, my daughter Paula. Paula stepped forward, her designer dress catching the light. Thank you, Mother. I'm so excited to share these family secrets that have been passed down through generations of Hanson women. The applause was deafening. I watched society's elite fawn over my sister-in-law as she described the exact manufacturing process I'd developed. We have to do something, Fred hissed. We have all the documentation, the original formulas. We're in my office at the Hanson building. I cut him off, where Meredith had full access as board member. Tyler squeezed my hand. Lucia, this can't be right. Mother wouldn't she? I pulled away from him. Your mother has never accepted me as part of this family. Now I know why she insisted I work from their corporate office. As if on cue, Meredith spotted us and glided over, Paula in tow. Lucia, darling, isn't this exciting? Paula has done such amazing work. I met her eyes, seeing the challenge there. She knew exactly what she'd done. Amazing indeed. Those formulas seem familiar. Oh? Meredith's smile didn't waver. Well, great minds think alike, though of course these are authentic Hanson family recipes. Really? I stepped closer. Then you won't mind explaining how you replicated my grandmother's exact proportions of Bulgarian rose oil and wild harvested herbs, the ones I spent months perfecting? Paula shifted uncomfortably. Mother? Now, Lucia. Meredith's voice dropped to a whisper. Let's not make a scene. You're part of this family now. The success of Hanson Beauty benefits all of us. I trusted you, I said, my voice cracking. I shared my grandmother's legacy with you. A legacy? Meredith laughed softly. Dear, you're an immigrant's granddaughter who married into our family. Did you really think we'd let you launch a brand under your name? This is about protecting the Hanson reputation. The room went silent in my ears. Through the blur of tears, I watched Curtis Douglas, Meredith's business partner, directing photographers to capture Paula's practiced poses with the products. Lucia, Tyler started, but I was already moving. I walked straight to the display table, picked up one of the serums, and hurled it against the marble floor. The crash silenced the room. These formulas were stolen, I announced, my voice carrying across the stunned crowd. Every recipe, every ingredient combination, they were all developed by my grandmother and me, and I can prove it. Security appeared at Meredith's subtle gesture. "I think you've had too much champagne," she said smoothly. "Perhaps it's best if you leave." As strong hands gripped my arms, I locked eyes with Paula. For a moment, I saw uncertainty flicker across her face. "You can steal my formulas," I called out as they dragged me toward the door. "But you can't steal the knowledge behind them. Let's see how long your family legacy lasts without me." The last thing I saw before the doors closed was Tyler, standing frozen between his mother and the space where I had been. Outside in the cool night air, Fred helped me into his car. "What now?" he asked quietly. I wiped my eyes, smearing expensive mascara across my fingers. "Now?" I took a deep breath, feeling something hard and determined settle in my chest. "Now we make them regret ever hearing my grandmother's name." Fred started the engine, and as we pulled away from the Hanson estate, I watched the glittering lights grow smaller in the side mirror. They thought they'd won tonight, but they had no idea what they'd just started. This wasn't just about business anymore. This was about justice, family honor, and showing the Hansons that karma always collects her debts. "Mija, stop pacing. You'll wear a hole in my floor." My grandmother Aurora's voice cut through my spiral of self-doubt. 2 weeks had passed since the Hanson beauty launch, and I'd been hiding out in her small apartment, licking my wounds. "I should have seen it coming, Abuela." I collapsed onto her worn floral couch. The way Meredith always asked so many questions about the formulas, how she insisted I work from their office. Aurora set down her wooden spoon and wiped her hands on her apron. The familiar scent of herbs filled the kitchen, the same herbs that had inspired my skincare line. "Come here," she said, pulling out a kitchen chair. "Sit." I obeyed, watching as she opened her ancient recipe box. "Do you know why I never wrote down the exact measurements for our family's remedies?" "Because you're old school and prefer to eyeball everything?" She smacked my shoulder playfully. "No, smart mouth. Because the real secret isn't in the recipes. It's in knowing how to read the plants, how to feel the right moment to harvest, how to sense when the mixture is perfect. These things cannot be stolen." My phone buzzed again. Another call from Tyler. I silenced it. "He's called 6 times today," Aurora noted. "Let him call. He's probably just doing damage control for his precious family. Or maybe he's worried about his wife who disappeared 2 weeks ago." Before I could respond, Fred burst through the door, waving his tablet. "Lucia, you need to see this." He thrust the device at me. On screen was a beauty blog reviewing Hanson Beauty's products. The headline made my heart skip. "Hanson Beauty launch faces quality control issues. Customers report severe reactions. They're trying to mass produce your formulas," Fred explained, pulling up more articles. "But they clearly don't understand the importance of proper ingredient sourcing or processing. There are complaints flooding in about rashes and allergic reactions." Aurora peered over my shoulder. "Ah, they used processed rose oil instead of wild harvested, didn't they? Amateurs." I scrolled through the comments. "This is bad, really bad. They're going to hurt someone." "It's their own fault," Fred said. "But that's not all. Look at their stock price." The Hanson Beauty launch had tanked their parent company's value by 30% in 2 weeks. A smile tugged at my lips before I caught myself. "I shouldn't be happy about this." "Why not?" Aurora demanded. "They stole from you. Let them learn their lesson." My phone buzzed again, this time with a text from Paula. "Please call me. It's important." "Delete it," Fred advised. "We need to focus on our next move. I've been talking to some independent investors who are interested in backing your own line." I stared at the message, remembering Paula's uncertain expression at the launch. "What if—" "No," Fred interrupted. "Whatever you're thinking, no. They don't deserve your help." Aurora grabbed my chin, forcing me to look at her. "Listen to me, Lucia. Your whole life, You've tried to make yourself smaller to fit into their world, but you are not small. You are my granddaughter, and our knowledge runs deeper than their shallow roots. But, no buts. She pulled out another kitchen chair. Fred, sit. Both of you are going to help me prepare a batch of my summer facial oil. It's time Lucia remembered who she really is. For the next hour, Aurora guided us through the process, explaining each step with the patience of a born teacher. The familiar motion centered me, and I felt my clarity returning with each herb we crushed, each oil we blended. See how the calendula petals release their oil? She demonstrated. You must coax it out gently, with respect. This is what they will never understand. My phone buzzed yet again, Tyler this time, with a voicemail. Lucia, please, things are falling apart here. She's not handling this well. We need to talk. Fred reached for my phone, but I stopped him. No, wait. Maybe this is exactly what we need. What do you mean? I stood up, suddenly energized. They're desperate. Their launch is failing. Their reputation is taking a hit, and they don't know how to fix it. So we let them stew for a bit longer. Then we launch our own line, the real thing, done right. And when they come begging for help, Aurora's eyes sparkled. Then you negotiate from a position of strength. I picked up the bottle of oil we'd just made, holding it to the light. The golden liquid seemed to glow from within. Exactly. But first, we need to build something they can't touch. Fred grinned. I'll call those investors tonight. Aurora squeezed my hand. Now you're thinking like my granddaughter. I saved the latest voicemail from Tyler, but didn't play it. Let them worry. Let them scramble. I had work to do, and this time I wouldn't be doing it in their shadow. Fred, I said, already reaching for my laptop, call your contact at that organic farm co-op. We're going to need a lot of calendula. And that's why we source all our ingredients directly from small-scale organic farmers, I explained to the crowd gathered in our pop-up shop. 3 months of relentless work had transformed an empty storefront into a warm, inviting space filled with the scents of herbs and essential oils. A woman raised her hand. But isn't this the same formula that Hanson Beauty? Actually, Fred smoothly interjected from beside me, these are the original formulations, developed by Lucia and her grandmother. We have extensive documentation of their development. The crowd murmured with interest. Our story had been spreading through social media, and the contrast between our authentic approach and Hanson Beauty's mass-produced disasters hadn't gone unnoticed. After the presentation, as customers lined up to sample our products, I spotted a familiar figure hovering near the entrance. Tyler. Go, Fred whispered. I've got this. I found Tyler examining our signature serum display. He looked tired with dark circles under his eyes and his usually perfect suit slightly rumpled. Impressive, he said, gesturing around the shop. Mother's furious, by the way. I'm devastated, I replied dryly. Why are you here, Tyler? He ran a hand through his hair. Can we talk? Somewhere private? I led him to our small back office, keeping the door open. Talk. The company's in trouble, Lucia. Real trouble. Hanson Beauty is hemorrhaging money, and the FDA is investigating the adverse reaction reports. That tends to happen when you steal formulas you don't understand. Paula's a mess. She barely leaves her apartment anymore. And Mother? He hesitated. She's not handling any of this well. And this concerns me because you're my wife, Tyler exploded. Because despite everything, we're still family. A customer peered curiously into the office. I lowered my voice. Family? Your mother stole my grandmother's legacy and handed it to Paula like a birthday present. Where was your concern for family then? I didn't know, he protested. I swear, Lucia, I had no idea what Mother was planning. But you didn't stop it either, did you? You just stood there. Before he could respond, Fred appeared in the doorway. Lucia, that reporter from the wellness blog is here for your interview. I'll be right there. I turned back to Tyler. If that's all. It's not. He pulled out his phone and pulled up a news article. Curtis Douglas is talking to the press. He's planning to blame the whole thing on Paula, paint her as a naive rich girl who got in over her head. Mother's letting it happen. That gave me pause. Paula might be spoiled, but she didn't deserve to take the fall for Meredith's schemes. The board meeting is next week, Tyler continued. They're going to vote on dissolving Hanson Beauty completely. Mother will probably survive it, but Paula? He shook his head. Her reputation will never recover. Why are you telling me this? Because you're the only one who can fix this. He met my eyes. And because despite what you think, I do love you. I miss you. Fred cleared his throat. Reporter's waiting. Tell her I'll be there in 5 minutes. I waited until Fred left before addressing Tyler. I can't help you. Can't? Or won't? Does it matter? Your mother made her choice. And now I'm making mine. He stepped closer. I'm backing your version of events at the board meeting. All of it. Mother will probably never speak to me again, but it's the right thing to do. I stared at him, searching for any sign of deception. Why now? Because watching you build this, he gestured around the shop, reminded me why I fell in love with you. Your passion, your integrity, everything Mother tried to dismiss as common. Through the open door, I could hear the buzz of customers, the gentle music we played, the soft clink of sample bottles. My shop, my dream, built exactly how I wanted it. The reporter's waiting, I said finally. Lucia. But, I cut him off. Have Paula call me, directly, not through you or your mother. Hope flickered across his face. You'll talk to her? I'll listen. That's all I'm promising. He nodded, then hesitated before leaning in to kiss my cheek. I really am sorry, he whispered. I watched him leave through the back door, then took a moment to compose myself before heading out to meet the reporter. Fred caught my eye questioningly. Paula might be calling, I told him. And maybe it's time we heard her side of the story. Fred looked skeptical, but nodded. Your call, but remember, we're finally winning. I touched one of our display bottles, remembering Aurora's words about strength and respect. Sometimes winning isn't about destroying your opponent, Fred. Sometimes it's about teaching them a better way. Just be careful, he warned. The Hansons aren't as powerful as they think they are. I finished. Trust me, I know exactly what I'm doing. But as I walked toward the waiting reporter, I wondered if that was really true. Was I opening myself up to another betrayal? Or was this the opportunity I'd been waiting for to set things right? On my terms? Paula looked nothing like her usual polished self when she slipped into the back of my grandmother's cafe 3 days later. Her designer clothes had been replaced by yoga pants and an oversized sweater, her perfect hair pulled back in a messy bun. I wasn't sure you'd come, I said, sliding a cup of Aurora's special tea across the table. I wasn't sure you'd agree to meet. She wrapped her hands around the cup but didn't drink. The press is camped outside my apartment. They're calling me a fraud. Aren't you? She flinched. I deserve that. You deserve worse. I know. She finally met my eyes. Mother said it would be simple. Just put my name on the brand, be the face of the company. I never thought what? That stealing someone's life work might have consequences? That people would get hurt? Tears welled in her eyes. Those reaction reports, those are real people, Lucia. And now Curtis is trying to pin everything on me, saying I rushed production without proper testing. I leaned back, studying her. But you didn't, did you? That was Meredith. Paula nodded miserably. Mother handles all the business decisions. Always has. She gestured vaguely. Show up and smile. And take credit for other people's work. I'm sorry, she whispered. I know it doesn't mean anything now, but I am so sorry. The cafe door chimed, and Aurora emerged from the kitchen, carrying a plate of her famous honey cookies. She set them down without a word and fixed Paula with a penetrating stare. These cookies, Aurora said finally, require exactly 17 minutes to bake. Not 16, not 18, 17. Do you know why? Paula blinked in confusion. No, because that's how long it takes for the honey to caramelize perfectly without burning. You cannot rush it. You cannot fake it. Nature has its own timeline. She turned to me. Just like your skincare formulas, yes? I nodded, understanding where she was going. The ingredients need proper time to blend, to mature. You can't mass produce that process without compromising quality. But surely there must be a way to scale up production, Paula protested. The demand is there. There is, I agreed, but not the way Meredith did it. Not by cutting corners and substituting inferior ingredients. Aurora patted Paula's hand. You are not your mother, child, but you must decide who you want to be. Paula's phone buzzed. Meredith's face flashed on the screen. She declined the call with trembling fingers. The board meeting is tomorrow, she said. Curtis has already submitted his statement blaming me for everything. Mother hasn't even tried to defend me. And Tyler? I asked, trying to keep my voice neutral. He's presenting evidence that the original formulas were yours. She managed a weak smile. I think he's finally standing up to Mother. Too late for damage control, though. I exchanged a look with Aurora, who nodded slightly. Maybe not. Paula's head snapped up. What do you mean? I could help fix this mess, but my terms would be non-negotiable. Anything, she said quickly. Name it. First, a public confession. The whole truth about where the formulas came from and who was really making the decisions. She paled but nodded. And? Second, complete creative control returns to me. Any future collaboration happens under my brand, my rules. Mother will never agree. Then she can watch her company collapse under FDA investigations and lawsuits. I stood up. Those are my terms. Take them or leave them. Paula stared at her untouched tea. She'll disown me. Probably, Aurora said gently, but perhaps it's time to own your own life, yes? Paula's phone buzzed again. Another call from Meredith. This time, she turned the phone off completely. Okay, she said quietly. I'll do it. All of it. Write it down, I instructed, pushing a notepad toward her. Everything. From the beginning. We'll need it for tomorrow. As Paula began writing, Aurora pulled me aside. Are you sure about this, Mija? Helping them after everything? I watched Paula's shoulders shake as she documented her mother's deception. I'm not doing it for Meredith. Sometimes the best revenge is forcing people to face their own truth. And Tyler? That's complicated. Aurora squeezed my hand. Life usually is, but you're handling it with grace. Paula looked up from her writing, tears streaming down her face. I never wanted to hurt anyone, she said. I just wanted Mother to be proud of me. I know, I replied, surprising myself with the gentleness in my voice. But tomorrow, you have a chance to make yourself proud instead. She nodded and returned to writing, while I began drafting the statement that would either save or destroy the Hanson family's reputation. Either way, by this time tomorrow, everything would change. The Hanson corporate boardroom felt colder than I remembered. I sat between Fred and Tyler, watching Meredith's face as she read Paula's written confession. Her perfectly manicured fingers crumpled the edges of the paper. This is ridiculous, she finally spat, throwing the pages across the table. Paula is clearly under duress. I'm not, Paula said quietly from her seat. She looked small in her formal blazer, but her voice was steady. Every word is true, Mother. Curtis Douglas cleared his throat. The board needs to consider the legal implications. If what Paula's saying is correct, it's not, Meredith cut in. This is obviously some ploy by Lucia to— To what? Tyler interrupted. To expose the truth? I have copies of all Lucia's original documentation, including security footage showing you accessing her office after hours. The board members murmured amongst themselves. I caught fragments of their whispered conversation. FDA investigation. Stock price falling. Public relations nightmare. Meredith's smile turned razor sharp. Lucia, dear, surely we can discuss this privately, as family? Like how we discussed stealing my formulas? I pulled out my laptop. I have a proposition for the board, one that could salvage this situation. The board doesn't need— I think we'd like to hear it, the chairwoman interjected, silencing Meredith with a look. I opened my presentation. My brand has been growing steadily, with zero adverse reactions and excellent customer retention. I'm prepared to enter into a partnership with Hansen Corp, but only under specific conditions. Which are? Curtis leaned forward, suddenly interested. First, full creative control returns to me. Second, Paula stays on as brand ambassador, but only after she makes a public statement explaining exactly what happened. Absolutely not! Meredith slammed her hand on the table. Paula, tell them you won't— I already agreed, Paula said. Her voice cracked, but she continued. I'm tired of lying, Mother. Tired of pretending. Pretending what? Meredith scoffed. That I'm happy, that I wanted any of this. Paula stood up, tears streaming down her face. Do you know why I never launched my own business? Because you convinced me I wasn't capable of anything except being pretty and following orders. The boardroom fell silent. Even Curtis looked uncomfortable. Everything I've ever done, Paula continued, was to make you proud. But it's never enough, is it? And now you're letting me take the fall for your decisions. I was protecting our family name, Meredith hissed. By destroying mine? Paula laughed bitterly. I'm pregnant, Mother. 5 months. I've been hiding it because I knew you'd see it as another failure. The revelation hit the room like a thunderbolt. I saw Tyler's jaw drop. Clearly, this was news to him, too. That's why I agreed to be the face of this company. Paula wiped her eyes. One last chance to prove my worth before you found out. But I can't. I won't let my child grow up watching me lie and steal and hurt people just to earn your approval. Meredith's face had gone chalk white. You're pregnant? Who? Does it matter? You'll probably just try to control that, too. I cleared my throat. The offer stands. Paula makes the statement. I take creative control, and we rebuild the brand properly, together. Otherwise, I release everything to the press. The chairwoman adjusted her glasses. Mrs. Hansen, given the circumstances, I strongly suggest— Fine. Meredith's voice could have frozen hell. Do whatever you want. You've already turned my daughter against me. No, Mother, Paula said softly. You did that yourself. Tyler reached for my hand under the table. I let him take it, feeling the familiar warmth of his palm against mine. I'll have legal draw up the paperwork, the chairwoman announced. In the meantime, I believe we should suspend all current Hansen Beauty operations pending the restructuring. As the board members filed out, Meredith remained seated, staring at nothing. For the first time, I saw her as she really was, not an untouchable society queen, but a woman who'd sacrificed everything, including her daughter's love, for control. Paula touched my arm. Thank you for giving me a chance to make this right. Don't thank me yet, I warned. The hard part's still coming. I know, but at least it'll be honest. She gathered her things, pausing at the door. Mother, I have an ultrasound appointment next week. You're welcome to come, if you want. Meredith didn't respond. Paula left quietly, leaving me alone with Tyler and his mother. Well, Tyler said, standing, I suppose we should. You'll regret this, Meredith said suddenly, looking directly at me. All of you? I met her gaze steadily. No, Meredith. The only regret here is that you never understood the difference between power and strength. Taking Tyler's arm, I walked out of the boardroom, leaving Meredith alone with the scattered pages of her daughter's confession. Tomorrow would bring its own challenges, but for now, the truth was finally out. And sometimes, that's the strongest revenge of all. Deep breaths, I coached Paula as the makeup artist made final touches. Remember, just tell the truth. We were backstage at a major morning show, minutes away from the interview that would either save or destroy both our reputations. Paula's baby bump was now visible in her simple navy dress. She'd insisted on showing it, tired of hiding. What if I freeze? She whispered. What if? Then I'll be right there beside you. I checked my own appearance in the mirror. Just like we practiced. Tyler appeared with 3 water bottles. 5 minutes to air. Mother's in the green room. She actually came? Paula's eyes widened. Probably to make sure we don't completely destroy the family name, I muttered. The producer stuck her head in. Ladies, we're ready for you. The studio lights were blinding as we took our seats across from the host, Sarah, who was known for her tough interviews. My palms were sweating, but I kept my expression calm. This morning we're joined by Paula Hansen and Lucia Lynch to discuss the recent controversy surrounding Hansen Beauty, Sarah began. Paula, let's start with you. There have been serious allegations about the origin of your skincare line. Paula gripped her water bottle. Yes, and they're true. All of them. Her voice shook slightly. The formulas were stolen from Lucia, my sister-in-law. She developed them based on her grandmother's traditional recipes. That's a serious admission. Sarah leaned forward. Why come clean now? Because I'm about to become a mother myself. Paula rested a hand on her bump. And I want my child to be proud of me. Real pride, not the kind that comes from stealing and lying. From the corner of my eye, I saw Meredith shift in her seat in the green room. Lucia, Sarah turned to me. These formulas were your family's legacy. How do you feel sitting here now? Honestly, I'm proud of Paula for telling the truth. It takes courage to admit when you've been wrong. But you're not just here to clear the air, are you? I understand there's a new business arrangement. Yes, I smiled. We're relaunching the line under my direction, with Paula as brand ambassador. But this time, we're doing it right. Ethical sourcing, proper production methods, no shortcuts. And the adverse reactions customers reported were the result of rushed production and substituted ingredients, Paula cut in. That was my mother's decision, not Lucia's formula. I should have spoken up then, but I was too afraid. Sarah raised an eyebrow. Afraid of what? Paula took a deep breath. Of disappointing my mother, of losing my place in the family. But I've realized there are worse things than disappointment, like looking in the mirror and not recognizing yourself anymore. In the green room, Meredith stood up abruptly. For a moment, I thought she might storm the set, but instead, she walked out. What would you say to customers who trusted Hansen Beauty? Sarah pressed. I'm sorry, Paula's voice cracked. We betrayed your trust, but Lucia's giving me a chance to make it right, to be part of something authentic. The new line will honor her grandmother's legacy while creating my own. Speaking of which, Sarah smiled, I understand you brought samples of the rebranded products? I reached under my chair for the gift bags. Yes, these are from our first official collaboration. Each bottle includes both our stories, the truth about where these formulas came from and where they're going. As we demonstrated the products, I watched Paula explain the ingredients with genuine enthusiasm. She'd spent weeks learning everything about the process, determined to earn her place this time. After the segment, Tyler met us backstage. That was incredible, both of you. Mother left, Paula said quietly. I know, but that's her loss. He hugged his sister. I'm proud of you, Paula, and I can't wait to be an uncle. Fred appeared with his tablet. Orders are already coming in. The website's crashing from traffic. And the comments? I asked. Overwhelmingly positive. People love a redemption story, especially an honest one. Paula touched my arm. Thank you for giving me a second chance. Thank you for being brave enough to take it. Ladies, the producer called. People magazine is here for your photo shoot. As we headed to the next interview, I received a text from Aurora. Watch the show. You both did good, Mika. Sometimes the strongest seeds grow from broken ground. I showed the message to Paula, who smiled through her tears. Your grandmother is very wise. She is, and she's excited to teach you the proper way to harvest calendula. Really? Even after everything? Family isn't just about blood, Paula. It's about choices. You made the right one today. We paused outside the photo studio, where journalists were already gathering. Paula squared her shoulders, one hand protectively over her bump. Ready? I asked. She nodded. Ready to start over, the right way this time. Together, we pushed open the doors, stepping into the bright lights of our new beginning. Sometimes I realized the best revenge isn't about destroying your enemies, it's about transforming them into allies. The lavender needs to be harvested before sunrise, I explained to Paula as we walked through the organic farm that supplied our ingredients. 3 months had passed since the television confession, and our rebranded line was thriving. The essential oil content is highest then. Paula, now visibly pregnant, touched a purple stem gently. Mother always said getting your hands dirty was beneath us. Speaking of Meredith, I hesitated. Have you heard from her? Not since the interview. Tyler says she's in Switzerland, recovering from the scandal. Paula made air quotes with her fingers. At least Curtis finally backed off after the legal team got involved. A familiar car pulled up to the farm's entrance. Tyler, carrying coffee and breakfast. He'd been staying at my grandmother's guest house while we figured out our marriage, taking things slow. Morning, ladies, he called out, balancing a tray of cups. Aurora sent muffins. Your grandmother's been feeding me constantly, Paula laughed. She says the baby needs proper nourishment, not those silly diet foods I used to eat. She's right, I smiled, accepting a coffee from Tyler. Speaking of the baby, how was the doctor's appointment? Paula's face lit up. It's a girl. I'm having a daughter. Tyler hugged his sister. That's wonderful. Have you thought about names? Actually, Paula looked at me nervously. I was thinking of Aurora, if that's okay. I nearly dropped my coffee. You want to name her after my grandmother? She's shown me more maternal kindness in 3 months than Mother has in 30 years. Plus, Paula stroked her belly, I want my daughter to have a strong name, one that represents healing and new beginnings. Before I could respond, Fred's truck came barreling down the dirt road, kicking up dust. Turn on your phones, he shouted, jumping out. Meredith just went on live with Regina Ford. Regina Ford was the most watched morning show host in the country. We huddled around Fred's tablet, watching the stream. Meredith sat primly in a designer suit, looking perfectly composed. I've come to set the record straight about my daughter's performance 3 months ago. Oh, God, Paula whispered. Paula was under tremendous stress, Meredith continued smoothly. The pregnancy hormones, the pressure of running a company. She became confused about certain events. Regina leaned forward. Are you saying her confession was false? I'm saying she was manipulated, by Lucia, my daughter-in-law, who saw an opportunity to take control of our family business. Tyler swore under his breath. Mother, what are you doing? But the documentation, Regina pressed. The security footage. Easily manipulated, Meredith waved dismissively. The truth is, Hanson Beauty was always a family enterprise. Lucia simply couldn't accept that she wasn't the center of attention. My phone started buzzing with notifications. The stock market was reacting, our share price fluctuating wildly. We have to respond, Fred said urgently. Right now. Paula straightened up, her face set. Yes, we do. She pulled out her phone and dialed a number. Regina's producer? This is Paula Hanson. I need to go live, immediately. 20 minutes later, we were watching Paula on the same show, facing her mother via split screen. Mother, Paula's voice was steady. Stop lying. Darling, you're not well? I'm perfectly well. In fact, I'm healthier than I've ever been. Paula held up one of our products. This is the truth. Every ingredient, every formula. Lucia's grandmother taught me how to make it properly, with respect for the process and the plants. Paula, I'm naming my daughter Aurora, Paula continued, after the woman who showed me what real maternal love looks like, who taught me that success built on lies isn't success at all. Meredith's perfect mask cracked slightly. You're choosing them over your own mother? No, Mother. I'm choosing truth over lies, pride over shame, love over fear. Paula took a deep breath. And if you ever want to meet your granddaughter, you'll need to do the same. The silence that followed was deafening. Finally, Meredith disconnected without another word. Regina turned to Paula. That was incredibly powerful. It was necessary, Paula replied simply. Now, if you'll excuse me, I need to get back to work. We're harvesting lavender this morning. When the segment ended, Paula collapsed into Tyler's arms, shaking. Did I just do that? You did, he confirmed, holding her tight. And it was amazing. Fred was checking his phone. Social media's exploding. Support messages are pouring in. The stock's stabilizing. I touched Paula's shoulder. You okay? She wiped her eyes, managing a smile. You know what? I actually am. For the first time in my life, I feel free. The sun was rising over the lavender field, painting the sky in shades of pink and gold. Aurora would be waiting at the farmhouse with breakfast and wisdom, ready to teach us more about the plants and life itself. Come on, I said, picking up my harvesting basket. The lavender's waiting, and this time we're doing it right. Together, we walked into the field, leaving Meredith's lies behind us like morning mist burning away in the sun. She's perfect, I whispered, cradling baby Aurora in the hospital room while Paula rested. The newborn's tiny fingers wrapped around my thumb with surprising strength. Tyler leaned over my shoulder, gently touching his niece's dark curls. She looks just like Paula did as a baby. A soft knock at the door made us turn. My grandmother Aurora stood there, arms full of fresh flowers and homemade food. Behind her, surprisingly, was Meredith. The room fell silent. Paula stirred, opening her eyes. Mother? Meredith looked smaller somehow, less polished than usual. She carried a simple white gift bag. I saw the birth announcement in the society pages. You mean you saw it 6 hours ago when I was in labor? Paula's voice was tired but sharp. And you're just showing up now? Meredith faltered. I wasn't sure I'd be welcome. That depends, Paula said. Are you here as the woman who tried to destroy our business last month, or as a grandmother? Meredith's carefully composed expression cracked. I brought something. She pulled out an old, worn baby blanket from the gift bag. This was yours. I kept it all these years. Paula's eyes filled with tears. My butterfly blanket? I thought you threw it away when I turned 10. You said it wasn't sophisticated enough. I couldn't. Meredith's voice wavered. It was the last thing you loved before I started, before I made you think love had to be earned. I stood up, still holding baby Aurora. Would you like to hold your granddaughter? Meredith looked startled, then hesitant. I should probably go. Mother, Paula interrupted. Stay, please. As I placed the baby in Meredith's arms, my grandmother stepped forward. The blanket needs washing first, she said practically. I'll show you how to do it properly, with gentle herbs, for the baby's sensitive skin. Meredith looked up sharply, perhaps expecting judgment, but Aurora's face showed only kindness. I'd like that, Meredith said softly. Tyler squeezed my hand as we watched the 3 generations of women gather around the baby. Think there's hope? He whispered. There's always hope, I replied. Sometimes it just needs time to bloom. Fred burst in, barely containing his excitement. Sorry to interrupt, but you all need to see this. He held up his tablet, showing the latest market reports. Our skincare line had just been picked up by a major international retailer, with the condition that we maintain our ethical production methods and family-centered approach. They love our story, Fred explained. The authenticity, the reconciliation, the traditional methods. They want us to develop an entire legacy collection. Paula laughed. Mother, remember how you said small batch production would never scale? I was wrong about many things, Meredith admitted, still cradling the baby. Perhaps you could show me how it's done properly? My grandmother touched Meredith's shoulder. First lesson, everything worthwhile takes time. Babies, healing, even face cream. Speaking of face cream, I added, we're harvesting roses tomorrow at dawn. The whole family is welcome. Dawn? Meredith looked horrified, then caught herself. I suppose I could try it. Once. Wear comfortable shoes, Paula advised with a grin. And prepare to get dirty. Baby Aurora chose that moment to cry, and we all watched as Meredith instinctively began to sway, humming softly. It was the most human I'd ever seen her. You know, Tyler said quietly, the Legacy Collection needs a proper launch event. No more ballrooms, I warned. No more pretense. I was thinking the farm, he suggested, under the stars, surrounded by the herbs and flowers that make everything possible. With Aurora's honey cookies, Paula added, and my organic tea, my grandmother chimed in. Meredith looked around the room, then down at her granddaughter. And perhaps I could share some stories about Paula as a baby, the real ones, not the society column versions. I'd like that, Paula smiled, all of it. As if in agreement, baby Aurora cooed, reaching up toward the window where the morning sun was streaming in. Outside, the hospital garden bloomed with the same herbs we used in our products, nature's reminder that growth was always possible. Well then, I said, pulling out my phone to start planning. Let's create something beautiful, together. Tyler kissed my cheek. Together sounds perfect. I looked around the room, at Paula's tired but happy face, at Meredith's tentative steps toward change, at my grandmother's knowing smile, at Fred's excited business plans, at Tyler's loving support, and at little Aurora, who represented all our hopes for the future. This was better than revenge, better than winning. This was family, messy and real and healing, like the gardens we tended and the products we created. Not perfect, but authentic, not flawless, but growing. And tomorrow at dawn, we'd all be in the fields together, harvesting roses and new beginnings, writing our legacy one genuine moment at a time.